They were two of the greatest songwriters in the 20th century. Icons, rivals, admirers. But what if Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney actually sat down at a piano, looked each other in the eyes, and said, hey, let's write a hit song? In the mid-60s, the Beatles and the Beach Boys were pushing each other to new heights. When Brian heard Rubber Soul, he was inspired to make one of the greatest albums, if not the greatest album of all time, Pet Sounds. After Paul heard Pet Sounds, he went straight to the Fab Four and he was like, look, we gotta top this. Even John Lennon loved it. And they pushed out Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. At one time, Paul McCartney called God Only Knows the greatest song ever written. That is a pretty good song. Brian cried after hearing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band for the first time. He knew that they raised the bar, especially after Paul McCartney actually went to Brian Wilson's house and actually played for him off of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, She's Leaving Home, on Brian's piano with him and his wife standing there, and they cried the whole time. There was love there. There was respect, and there was a dream of one day working together. As I have mentioned before in one of my previous videos, in 1967, Paul McCartney actually went to the Smile sessions and started chomping on celery, and they actually recorded those sessions. So technically that was a collab. In both of their later years, Paul McCartney and Brian Wilson actually sung God Only Knows live together, but they never wrote anything together. Why not? Was it timing? Brian was breaking down. All the pressure with the Beach Boys and all the drugs that Brian was taking. It was such a missed opportunity. But imagine if this actually happened, maybe in 1966 or 1967. Maybe in a quiet studio somewhere, Brian at the piano, Paul McCartney at bass and guitar, two minds just humming together. It would have been one part Beach Boys, one part the Beatles, but 100% beautiful. Maybe it's a single. Maybe it comes out right after Smile or even closes the album. Or maybe it lands on Magical Mystery Tour as a glorious surprise. A Brian Wilson / Paul McCartney song would have sent shockwaves through the music community. Suddenly, the line between the Beatles and the Beach Boys is now a blur. Fans would get the collaboration of the century. And other artists like Lennon, Harrison, and even Carl, maybe even Dennis, follows the flow. And maybe, just maybe, Brian finds healing in this new partnership. Paul might help him through the darkness, and Brian actually being able to stretch out a little bit, spread his wings and fly just a little bit. Maybe with that, Marilyn, his wife, could, help out in the process, like, in my previous video that I made with them, doing stuff together in the 70s. Maybe all that worked out with just this one song, this one magnificent and beautiful collaboration. Together, Brian and Paul would make a brand new sound that no one has ever heard. Sunshine layered with sadness. It would have been so great. Even today, we all wonder, all fans of the Beach Boys and the Beatles wonder what this could have sounded like. The world never got this, but we got a little taste with some interviews and letters and all the, the small stories that we have that I mentioned in the first bit of this video. All that stuff we have of them and what could have been one of the greatest friendship, partnerships, and musical inventions ever made. Maybe the greatest song that they never wrote is the one we keep imagining. And maybe that's the whole point of it. Some dreams are so perfect, they don't even need to be real. They just need to inspire. Comment below any titles or any kind of lyrics or anything like that that you think that would have fit this collab. Would you have loved this collaboration? Or would you have absolutely hated this collaboration? Or are you somewhere in the middle? Leave all of that in the comment section, and I hope you enjoyed. Please check more of my videos out and check out some more what if scenarios in this playlist here.